Hey guys, this is Chris from the Warrior Poet Journal, and today we're going to talk about the How to Pray series. We're going to talk about how to pray when you just watch the news. All right. So, one of the biggest things today is just this ability to understand what's going on around us and the news and how demoralizing it can be. And as men who need to be men of action, we can't be paralyzed by what's going on in the world out there. Can't be paralyzed in things we can't control. So let me adjust my mic. Try this. All right, so today we're going to talk about prayer after you just watch the news, how to pray. All right, and I have some notes here I want to share with you from this morning. So let's say you just watched the news, or you just had a conversation with one of your friends, and you heard some bad news about politics, about the dollar, about your investments, about the future of your work, your ability to do work, about how the economy will be crippled, or about China or the coronavirus or whatever, right? So you're hearing all these things. You're watching your favorite political channel and they're telling you worry about these things, or it's worry, and it's trying to paralyze you, and it's a tool of the enemy to try to paralyze you. And so I heard Thomas Jefferson, I haven't looked this up yet, I probably should, heard Thomas Jefferson say that the most well-informed person is the person who ignores the news. I have to look that up. But the bottom line is, if you want to get encouraged, and if you want to be encouraged by the God who actually knows what's going on, the God who actually controls the universe, the very cornerstone of not only the physical sciences and creation and matter and energy, but the one who originated, the one who is the cornerstone of morality and love and honor and bravery, and the one who says those things are good, right? You want to connect with that God. You want to hear from him. You want to know what his story is to counter the news. If there's one thing that's going to overcome that fear that you had from watching the news, it's going to be listening to that guy, listening to that God. And if we read, a lot of the things will be solved. Because we worry, right? We're guys, right? We worry about how we're going to provide for our family. We worry about our worth and our value and our identity in our jobs and things like that. And those things can be healthy, and there's some things in there that aren't healthy, but we trust God to work those things out. Bottom line is, we have these concerns, right? And we want to grow, and we want to be better at those things, not worse. We don't want the next year to make us weaker. We don't want the next year to take from the wealth that we've built up, or our small little empire or fiefdom that we've created for our family. We don't want these circumstances to destroy these things, right? We want to build. And we want to grow. We want next year we want to know that if we work hard, then the next year is going to be better, right? Not worse. And yet, we have all this news coming at us. All right, so how do we deal with that? Well, you pray. First of all, read Psalm 37. And I'm not even going to beat around the bush. There's plenty in the Bible that'll tell you not to worry. But Psalm 37 is like the key to not worrying. It's like the home base of not worrying. It's basically like, you see the wicked spreading themselves out like trees, spreading their roots out. You see them winning all the time. You see them prideful and not getting punished. You see all these things. Is it this way? Yeah. You see all these things, and you worry, and you think, well, why isn't the evil getting what he deserves? And yet God laughs. God laughs at their arrogance. God laughs at their supposed growth, because he knows their end. Think about it. I mean, if you just think about it. Think about this pedestal of weakness that so much of politics rests on now. It's like, think about accountability makes you strong, right? if the press is holding you accountable, that makes you forced to be stronger, right? You have to be more moral. You can't just do whatever you want. You can't do something illegal because you know immediately someone will find out. And if the press just loves you, right, then you start to get arrogant. You start to try more. You start to do more. What happens when all that's exposed? Look, I don't know if that's how it's going to happen or it's going to be some other way, but God knows their end. God knows that they're not on a firm foundation. So how do we get encouragement about getting on a firm foundation? Read Psalm 37 and find out. Because if we believe that the creator of the universe is the one who knows what's going on, that he as the cornerstone, he understands how things are moving forward. He knows how things work. He knows how things are going to turn out. He understands it. He sees the system. He's not just seeing a certain politician, right? He's not just seeing a politician and saying, oh, well, I hope it works out, that they get what they deserve. No, he knows how it's going to work out. He sees the whole system. He knows what forces are at play. When we look at, people were looking at Q and they're like, we know their playbook, and everybody was like, and we all hoped that the evil deeds would become clear and that, things would be made right and everything. We all hoped that because of Q, right? Or some of us did, right? But think about the God who really does know the playbook. The God who knows everything that's going on behind the scenes. The God who knows all their emails. He knows every letter and punctuation mark, every jot and tittle of communication, evil communication between people. He knows their evil thoroughly. He knows it. He knows our evil. He knows our sin thoroughly, right? None of us are righteous. God is the one who knows. God is the cornerstone. God is the one to whom we should pray, in whom we hope. So read Psalm 37, pray it out loud. That's just the start, guys. And here's some things that I prayed this morning, and this is just me praying this morning. God, you can preserve your saints even when the world is crashing down around everyone else. That is straight from Psalm 37. The enemy could be gathering at our borders, ready to attack a weakened country. And yet, you can keep us strong. Not always to shoot back physically, not always to become rich and so that we can do things, so that we can handle everything. It's not always in our way, in the way we choose things should go, because really in the end, God has a history of wanting to see the evil built up in their evil so he can properly judge them. It's like he wants to allow their evil to continue to mount up, like making a case against them. Like basically, here's your heart. Now, let's take a quick detour. Imagine, I just want to explain this so that we can understand and believe it. So imagine, I'm going to do this so you can see my hands better. Imagine God basically nips everything in the bud, right? He doesn't allow any evil to happen. And it's just like you sin a little bit and he disciplines you. You're like, okay, I know how to act. And even if you don't love God, you act that way to get what you want. You're utilitarian. You don't actually develop love in your heart. You trick yourself into thinking that you're good. But what happens when God says, go ahead, do your thing. I already told you. I've warned you. And you don't want to listen. So you don't want to listen. So go do your thing. And I'm not going to prevent you from getting little successes. And you're going to have your successes, right? And you're going to build up. And you're going to spread out like a tree. But if God, I believe, this is me, and I think I see it in scripture, but I can't quote anything right now. I believe that God, it's to God's glory to punish sin when it becomes great, right? And yeah, people suffer. Yeah, the enemy causes people to suffer. But it's God's glory to let to let evil grow to a certain point, right? And so that to me explains why he allows those things to happen, why he allows the enemy's roots to grow, power to grow, and all this stuff, because he wants to let evil run its course, and then he's going to take care of it in the end. And his ends are righteous. And so when we look at that, there should be no contradiction. If you believe that, and if you can see sense in what I'm saying, and you can look back, and I'm not going to tackle why does God allow evil. That's a different video. But, and please ask me if in the comments, please ask me if you want a video about that, please ask. There are plenty of videos from more qualified people than me out there to explain that to you. But if that has explanatory power, then you can now understand why God would potentially allow evil to grow. And so when you see Psalm 37, you're not surprised. When you see the evil that God talks about in Psalm 37, when you see the evil in the world, you're not surprised. You're like, all right, God knows how to take care of his people. He knows how to take care of who he saves. He knows how to make our faith grow stronger. You may even say God is sovereign, and he will not allow, no matter how much evil is in the world, no matter how Hitler persecuted Christians, that persecution does not make the saints lose their faith, right? And evil wins. That God doesn't allow that. That suffering on this earth is temporary, and that God knows that, and that it's to his glory that we suffer sometimes, right? We see that in the Bible. It's not a bed of roses. We're entering a battle, and he's training us for battle, and he's hardening us, hardening our spine, giving us the cojones, right? Very large and fertile, let's say, for battle, to go out there and fight, right? He's given those things to us. And it's not because things are easy. It's not because the world is in the Lego movie, Cloud Cuckoo Land, or a bed of roses, or soft living, the good life. It's not the good life. It's the freaking awesome life, right? It's the life where we develop bravery and go out and fight. All right. So what time is it? Holy cow, it's late. God, you can preserve your saints even when the world is crashing down around everyone else. And this is true. He has a way to protect you and your family, even when things are crashing down around people around you, even when the economy sucks and everybody doesn't have a job. Oops. Everybody doesn't have a job. He can preserve your family, keeping you clothed and fed. And if you listen to the Sermon on the Mount, and maybe even sheltered, and his purpose for you will not be thwarted. The enemy could be gathering at your borders ready to attack a weakened country, and yet you, God, you keep us strong. To be able to be preserved and preserve your holiness in our family, and to be able to fulfill our purpose for you, to be able to feed our family, and to be able to be clothed, to have all the basics we need to fulfill your purpose for us. And this is our hope, and that is what you should pray after you watch the news. Read Psalm 37, pray that prayer. There is nothing that the enemy can do to us if we are in Christ and in his will. Get rid of sin. Ask him for his help. Get around brothers. Get accountability, and get strong. Hope in him, and hope in him alone. All right, this has been Chris Stadler. Oops, I said my last name. Talking about how to pray. Talking about how to pray, and how to pray for after you just watch the news and you're discouraged and you're wondering how it's all going to work out. This is how you get brave again. If you've enjoyed this, or just to find out more, or to sign up for the newsletter, go to the Warrior Poet Journal. That's www.warriorpoetjournal.com. All right, we'll talk to you next time. Thanks for watching.